Hey guys, I wanted to do this real quickly, and basically it's going to be uncut, unscripted on the fly, but I wanted to do this real quickly, kind of give my response to the reactions that each of the Bronies React analysis, or fans, if you will, like AC Race Best and Silver Quill and Jack's Blade and all of them, had when it came to the last problem. And mostly talk about the reactions when it came to the revelation of how the main six, the main seven, if you will, and everyone else turned out in the future. So without further ado, let's get into that. And just to let you know, I will be putting imagery, maybe screenshots, maybe some video, we'll see, up here later on, up here as you watch this video commence. Okay? So let's get started. Okay, so the first revelation that those at Bronies React, like AC and Jax and Silver Quill and many of them get, is the revelation of Spike in this timeline, and how he's gone from what we saw at the end of the ending of the end, which was kind of like the final chapter, to what he looks like here in the epilogue portion of the series. And honestly, I'm not against them reacting this way, because it is a big shock, it is a big surprise to see a character that you're so used to seeing as is for such a long time, to see them just explode in growth and become this muscular Herculean like kind of version of themselves, which some have said basically looks like what he looked like or imagined himself to be like in that dream sequence, on that fantasy sequence in a Dog and Pony show from the start of the series, to even joking around that he looks like a Chad kind of like character because of his chin and his build, his body built, to even some people joking that he found Jack's Blade's YouTube channel and was using the workouts that Jack's Blade demonstrates on that channel to build himself up. So yeah, that was the first big shock. And for those that didn't watch the leaked versions, thanks to the Netherlands or the hack that happened later on, this did come as a huge surprise. It did come as a huge surprise. Now, did some like it? Did some of the actors in Bronies React like it? Yeah, they were cool with it. They liked it. They enjoyed seeing Spike finally grow into a proper sized dragon, and not because of greed and all that. So they were happy about that. They were. But the next revelation, they were kind of mixed about. So the next revelation, of course, was Twilight. And immediately you could definitely tell that there was a mixed reaction to it. There was definitely a mixed reaction to Twilight's revelation as a full-grown alicorn, or basically, as some have joked about it, Celestia 2.0. I mean, the fact that she has wavy hair, or as they call it, wavy bacon hair or something, and she's basically the same size as what Celestia was. And some were cool with it. Some even said that Twilight herself had a growth spurt and stuff like that, which seemingly she did when she took on being ruler. And maybe they might touch upon that in the season 10 comic, because that is something people want to know. How the heck did she go from the Twilight we saw to boom, being this Twilight like years later? So yeah, a lot of people were not too happy. Well, I wouldn't say not too happy, but they were very mixed about the redesign. They basically said and pointed out, and even those that watched the episode, thanks to the Netherlands leaks, because of them uploading the episodes early when they weren't supposed to, to the leaks being released because of the hack, you know, a lot of people gave the impressions about this, and they were not too happy about it. You know, basically they just felt, and they even kind of joked about this in the reaction video. It's basically like they just took Celestia's design model, you know, changed it up a bit to match up with Twilight's model, or kind of basically took influences from both character designs and models and mixed them together to create this version of Twilight. But mostly it was Celestia's model that they model design or character design they used, which is what they pointed out. And again, some were cool with it, some will not. I know Lost Narrator and Magpie and Pony were not too thrilled about it, because it's like, really? You know, we're going to go with this? This is what we're doing? Okay, fine. I'm not too keen on it. I know that Little Shy FIM was kind of mixed about it. It's like he didn't like it, but he did like it because he kind of understood, okay, this is what she was destined to be, stuff like that. So, yeah, you know, there were some people that were yay and nay about it, but, you know, to me, I thought it was all right. I mean, if you're going to go all the way with, you know, this storyline in the final season of, okay, everything Twilight's been through along with her friends in the past 8 seasons, including the movie, has been leading up to this moment to where, you know, Celestia and Luna are saying, hey, you and your friends are gonna step into our shoes now. You guys are gonna take over for us while we step down. You know, basically, you know, we should have probably saw this coming, that this would probably be the end result no matter what, no matter how they approached it. So, yeah, you know, again, I have no problem with it, because like I said, you know, this was obvious. We obviously should have saw this coming from the beginning. Like, we knew this would probably be the destination that they were going to, you know, head into as we got closer to the end of the series. But Twilight's design wasn't the only one design in Revelation here in this future timeline that really took people off, or took a lot of the fans in the reaction video by surprise. It wasn't the only one. So obviously, probably the biggest revelation and shocker when it comes to the main 7 in this future timeline, in this final episode, Last Problem, is Pinkie Pie. And the fact that Pinkie not just officially got together with Cheese Sandwich, voiced by Weird Al Yankovic, but that as a result, Pinkie became a mom. And that really just threw a lot of people for a loop. Even, again, going back to those that probably watched the episodes earlier than others, thanks to the leaks and such, it really threw people for a loop, because, you know, for years you've had the staff basically say that, oh, we're never going to ship the main 7, we're never going to ship any of them, you know, they're not going to be anything more than just friends and all that, the heroes, legends of Equestria. And yet, here in the final episode, you have the revelation of Pinkie Pie being a mom. And I think the reason they went that route is because of all the characters, out of all the main 7, if there's one character you would have probably not seen coming and becoming a parent herself, was Pinkie. But I think it works because she has the personality for it. She has the heart for it. And it makes sense for her to have a child, because she basically lived alongside kids when she was with the Cake family. So it only makes sense for her to kind of take on that burden and pass on her traits to her child. And again, it was unexpected, because it also kind of brings Pinkie down to earth a little bit, if you will, and makes her grow up a bit more, but keep a bit of her personality from the past. But as big of a shock as that was, there was more revelation to the main 7 that really surprised a lot of people. Okay, so the next revelation reveal for the main 7 in this timeline was Rarity. Now, Rarity didn't have much of a reveal except the fact that she has a silver line in her hair, basically kind of that touch of gray in her hair kind of deal. And everybody's reaction was, oh, this is nice, this is cool. I think Dusty Cat even said that Rarity looked like one of those 1940s starlet like celebrities or actresses. And you even had, I think Lost Narrator and everybody else saying, that she is Rarity aged gracefully. She looks divine. She's aged gracefully. In other words, complimenting the fact that it doesn't look like, despite the fact that she's older and she's got that bit of silver in her mane, which a lot of them actually agreed looks good on her, that it doesn't seem like she's really aged that much. Like she's just still the same Rarity. I mean, and as a matter of fact, somebody even, I think it was Lennon Black on DeviantArt, did a picture with Rarity lying down and everything. And if I get that picture up here, you will see it. And the title for that picture is Like Fine Wine. Like basically she aged gracefully like a fine wine. And there's no doubt that's true. There's no doubt about that. A lot of people wonder, well, why was she wearing a coat and all that? And my only thought is, and I'm not trying to be mean about this because Rarity is one of my favorites. In fact, she's one of the characters that helped get me into the show. I think the reason Rarity's, wearing that is because, as you get older, you do inherit a lot of stuff from your parents, right? So I think she, we saw how her mom looks and everything. Her mom's kind of big, no offense, as well as her father's kind of the same way. So she might have inherited a bit of like, okay, the older you get, the more weight you may gain or something. Not saying that's true. Some have even speculated, if they're a Rarity fan, like, hey, maybe she's hiding the fact that she's with child, but or foil, or filly, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. That's just mere speculation. But yeah, and it's also, but you also got to look at the fact that she came from Yakakistan, which is kind of cold, kind of like the Canada, so kind of the version of Canada or something. So it kind of makes sense that maybe she wanted to stay warm, and that's why she had the coat on. But again, it didn't. But along with it, and the gray hair, the silver streak in her hair, and and everything, the way she looked, she definitely, in my opinion, aged gracefully. She definitely aged like a fine wine. I agree with Lost Narrator on that. So, pretty cool. So it was pretty cool to see her like that. It's like you have her dye the gray in her hair. Maybe put a little bit of makeup or whatever, facial makeup, blush, whatever you want to call it, on her face, and it looks like she hasn't even aged a day. So, but yeah, I do agree with everybody that Rarity's reveal was probably less shocking and more like magnificent, in my opinion, in their opinion, and in mine. But that wasn't the only revelation. But that revelation was nothing compared to the next one they got. Okay, so one of the things that AC and Toodles kind of talked about at the beginning of the reaction video was whether or not in this future timeline did Applejack and Rainbow Dash get together? Did they get married? Because pretty much every fan since the beginning has basically looked at this whole friendly rivalry and competitiveness between both characters as just an indication that sometime down the line in the future, that friendly rivalry and competitiveness is going to turn into a relationship, that they're going to fall in love with each other. Well, when they enter the room, boom, and the way they're talking, it pretty much gives off the vibe. And you could see it in the reactions of Dusty Cat, of AC Race Best, of what's her name? I can't think of her name, but she's the voice of Sweetie Belle in the series. You can see it in all the reactions of the fact that the way Rainbow and Apple enter the room together And just the way they're kind of going back and forth with Rainbow saying, hey, you know, we would have gotten here sooner if you would let me do the chores instead of doing them yourself. And Apple being like, well, I would if you do them the right way. Basically gave off the vibe that these two got together. These two got together. And then the final image with them, you know, standing in front of the sun as it's going down, you have, you know, Rainbow's hoof on Apple's head. So it kind of gives off the vibe that, yeah, these two ended up getting together. You know, even Dusty Cat says that they're arguing like an old married couple. Now, the only two panelists, I would say, in the reaction video that were probably not too keen on it were Magpie and Lost Narrator, because they're like, no, that didn't. This did not happen. No, this is not the case. Like I said, you know, you had Magpie and Lost Narrator going like, no, that didn't happen. Nope. You know, and everything. They're like, they don't want to believe that it's true. But you have Saber Spark, you have Cosmic Melody, you have Toodles, you have AC Regs Best, you have Jax Blade, you have Dusty Cat. You have a majority of them being like, yep, you know, they're together. They did it. They turned them into they married them off. They turned them into a gay couple or a lesbian couple, and there you go. And to me, I think honestly, this was probably one of the more expected ones to happen. Probably one of the more, you know, one of the more expected. Like I said, one of the more expected ones to occur, but one of the more surprising ones. Even though people probably expected it to happen, they probably didn't think it would. But it was one of the more expected, and probably for some one of the more surprising. But one of the other reveals at the end really, you know, got people talking. Okay, so the final member of the main seven to show up was Fluttershy, and she came out and she arrived via portal thanks to Discord, basically coming out to look like Discord's dimension, and Discord's giving her a bagged lunch or something like that. And she has what's known as like the blue flower, a blue kind of bonnet flower in her hair, which represents love and everything. So the reaction wasn't as surprising when it came to, let's say, Rainbow and Apple, but it was still kind of like a surprise that, you know, to the reactors in this video, that basically they went there. They actually did it. They actually put, in everybody's opinion, Discord and Fluttershy together. I mean, yeah, some of them tried to play it off as, nah, you know, they're still good friends, but they knew better. I mean, the fact that she's looking at Discord as she's giving her the lunch, that being Fluttershy the way she did, and then just, you know, going off to an, I mean, the fact that Fluttershy says, oh, he would be joining us, but he's going to an O&O convention, as if saying that as if, you know, they're married or something. So yeah, it does throw off the vibe that they're together, and the fact that she comes out of one of his portals indicates she's with him in some capacity. She's living with him for a majority of the time. But yeah, you know, again, it was a surprise. I mean, Saber and Cosmic, you know, basically acknowledged it, like, yeah, they're together. And yeah, basically it was just, again, it wasn't as big of a shocker or a surprise as, you know, the show, as the staff pretty much saying, yeah, we'll put AJ and Rainbow together. But it was still a pleasant surprise to see. It really was. But when you get to the song, to the montage that we get during the song and the showcase of the other characters, that's when it really kind of surprised some people more so. So we get to the final song, and they show up in Ponyville, and we see all the characters there. We see Lyra and Bonbon, and just like with Rarity, Magpie, and Lost Narrator say that they've aged with grace. We see that Derpy is still a male pony, even though one of the reactors are like, wait a minute, she was a chef last episode. What the heck? You know, stuff like that. But yeah, you had the revelations there. Then you had, of course, the revelation of Starlight and Sunburst running to school along with Trixie, and then you see the CMCs, which is the voice of Sweetie Belle. She was surprised. I don't know if she had seen the episode, and this was just her trying to act out a natural surprise, or it was a legit natural surprise. And it was her first time seeing her character along with the other CMCs just grown up and teaching. I don't really know, but yeah, that was a big surprise for a lot of people to see that. The one thing that really got some of the reactors teary-eyed or misty was, the fact that they noticed that Applejack was wearing Granny Smith's shawls, indicating Granny Smith has passed on. And I'm surprised they didn't notice that with Apple. I mean, the voice of Sweetie Belle did notice it with Apple Bloom, but didn't kind of connect that, oh, Apple Bloom's wearing Goldie Delicious' shawl. So, yeah, that was one thing there. But overall, I would have to say that, along with a lot of the surprises and all that the reactions, like I said, to the pillars, I mean, not to pillars, but Sunburst and Starlight running things together, to, we see Yona and Sambar together on the running Rarity's boutique in Ponyville. We see Big Mac and Sugar Belle have had a kid, continuing the Apple generation, or continuing the legacy of the Apple family. We see before that how big Gummy got, which surprised a lot of people. And then, of course, we get the ending montage, which for a lot of people was probably the creme de la creme, because it's like you see this collage of all these characters that have appeared in the show, whether they had some kind of connection with the character or the member of the main seven that was going by the screen as you saw the collage be revealed. That's another story, of course, but that's what really got a lot of people. I mean, when we got to AJ going across and you see the collage of everybody connected with her, from Autumn Blaze to her family members, including her parents, that really got to Magpie Pony, because she's like, I didn't want to cry or anything, but it's like, yeah, that really hit her. And then, of course, we get to Twilight, and in Twilight, she flies by and you see sunset and Flash in the background, and everybody's like, yeah, that was nice of them to do that, because even though Sunset and Flash are primarily Equestria Go characters, to basically finally confirm that, yeah, both shows are the same continuity, same, timeline, if you will, same universe in a sense, was a good call. And the ending with the book closing was a great reaction too, because it really meant the end of an era. And really, that was about it. But yeah, but I will say this, I get where each of them are coming from. I mean, if you go back and watch my review or listen to it on my podcast, at places like Anchor.fm and iTunes, Podcast.apple, you could definitely tell that it got, that I was touched by it as well. And again, I can understand how people reacted to it and how they felt. So anyway, though, guys, that's all I'm going to say on it. And I'm going to get back into work now, but let me know what you all think down below. Comment if you like, and I will talk to you all later.